How about an update on our good friend Cody Rhodes? His brand got bumped for the next 3 weeks by fucking basketball. His ego prop of a title is finally finished, and it's uglier than it was before, and his wife is a useless twat. Now, let's talk about NXT. Just had to get that off my chest. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your NXT review for August 12th, 2020. And how we doing? There is no house cleaning. I don't have any other extra videos to plug, no scheduling really to announce, because when I try to schedule things, they literally don't happen. So I'll just plug my own shit. Follow me on Twitter at SpazPhoenix1. Follow me on Instagram at SpazPhoenix. Find the Spaz Phoenix Podcast Facebook group. If you're watching me right now with the sexy face and the gimmick hat, find me as a podcast looking up Spaz Phoenix Podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And if you're listening to me right now, find me on YouTube at Spaz Phoenix. Quick check-in with all you guys. How you guys doing? We're still in the COVID times. We're still in the weird, not quite back to normal times. I hope you guys are doing all right. Big thing for me recently is that the theaters are back open. I haven't been yet, but $5 to go see Jurassic Park in the theater again sounds good. The Nolan Batman movies are there. We're getting New Mutants soon, which is cool. Other than that, I'm going to an event put on by Destiny Wrestling this coming weekend, so that's kind of awesome. I don't know if there's going to be any actual wrestling. I think it's more of a social thing, but shout out to George Iceman and the whole Destiny crew there. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, and if you're following me on Facebook, on Twitter at SpazPhoenix1, on Instagram at SpazPhoenix, I'm sure I'm going to be flooding you with photos with all the fun we're going to have this coming Sunday. But before we get to all of that, we got to talk about this week's NXT. We're leading to NXT Takeover 30, which is really, I know there's a title match coming, and it's going to be really awesome. The whole KROSS Lee thing we're going to talk about soon. I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm sorry, the main event of this is becoming the Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole. Yep, I did the thing, didn't I? I did the thing. Imagine that. Imagine if a commentator or a ring announcer got really fucked up one day and they accidentally did the Michael Cole, baby. Now, no, they're not all as dumb as me, so that's not going to happen. That's fine. Adam Cole, Pat McAfee, this is a lot of fun. They announced it over the course of the week, as we knew they would after that unprotected punt that Adam Cole took off the commentator's booth last week from Pat McAfee, which is a lot. And I want to hear Pat McAfee cut a promo. I really do. I want to see him get in the ring and cut a promo before the Undisputed Era come out and kick the shit out of him, because that's going to be good. He doesn't sound like a WWE guy because he's not a WWE guy. Adam Cole and the rest of the Undisputed Era are great. They cut a great promo, they cut a great package, but it's still great within the WWE parameters, if that makes sense. So I can't wait to see him on the mic, and Adam Cole on the mic. We're going to get to that momentarily. And we saw the replay last week of Keith Lee destroying Cameron Grimes, but yet Cameron Grimes has an opportunity to get himself a title shot this week. It's weird. They did a very condensed version of the last week on NXT thing this week, because that's really the two big stories going forward, is McAfee and Cole and Lee and KROSS. KROSS is out and he's facing Danny Burch, and everybody's very upset, especially on Twitter. I was watching Twitter more than usual this week because I took a little bit more loose notes, and I had my phone in my hand a bit more, trying to catch the vibe, catch the general temperature of what people were saying. And a lot of people think that KROSS should just come in, hit his finisher, and leave. Now, that would show a dominant thing. It would be very Ryback, because if you don't let your opponent show anything that they can do, then you beating them doesn't mean anything. Danny Burch is awesome in his own right, and if the world were a better place, him and Oney Lorcan would be higher up in the pecking order. But that's not where we're at right now. But at the same time, you don't want to job him out, because they do push him as a tough guy. He's not going to be the main event, but when we're trying to make the main event guy look really tough, he's the one we're going to put. He's the brawler version of Dolph Ziggler. I've made the comparison, and I'm going to make the comparison later on tonight, that Dolph Ziggler is the NXT version of Dolph Ziggler. Danny Burch is that if you want to put over a brawler or a really tough, intimidating, terrifying type of personality. But anyway, it doesn't go super long. It's just he got some offense in. We got low drop kick by Birch to start, some corner shots and a mud hole stomp. A two-handed choke slam on the floor by KROSS is not a good way to spend a Wednesday night. Exploder suplex by Cross once they get back in the ring. A boot by Birch, a corner Enziguri, and a German suplex. A dirty, dirty, dirty forearm from KROSS, followed by a crossface by Birch. Cross rather stands up in the crossface, which is just awesome. It's it goes to the WWE, like how they film things, whatever. The Keith Lee raising over Finn Balor's shoulder, or Drew McIntyre appearing behind the Undertaker, that type of thing. But the crossface is a pretty killer, pun intended, move. So to see KROSS just standing up out of it was really cool. He stands up out of it. Doomsday Saito ×2. A standing cross jacket gets the win for Cross. Keith Lee comes out. KROSS and Scarlett go to the outside. Keith Lee comes out with a contract. I like Keith Lee. I really do. People don't believe me that I do, but I genuinely do. He's an entertaining dude, charismatic dude, and like again, much like KROSS, a terrifying prospect to face in the ring, pouncing Adam Cole into the fifth row, etc. But now that they're like intentionally trying to make him tough rather than just letting him be tough, it just translates into him saying bitch a lot. And it comes off, I'm not going to monitor anybody's language. I don't care about that. You guys hear me. I swear on here all the time. I really don't care. It's probably why I'm not monetized anymore. But it sounds so forced, which is really unfortunate. Basically, he says he's gone back to William Regal. He's asked again if they can have the match. They're going to have the match. I've had it written into the contract that I can't touch you until TakeOver. Now sign the goddamn contract, pretty much. So by this point, KROSS, staging is everything. But KROSS is halfway up the ramp. He sends Scarlett as sort of his, like, Silver Surfer. I've made that comparison before. She gets the contract. She brings it to him. He signs it. She sort of brings it back and slides it into the ring like they slid in the what do you call it? I was going to say the egg timer, the hourglass, when it was Adam Cole. He basically slides the contract back, and you're looking at this and you're like, why are they focusing so long on the little, you know, the NXT branded binders that they put everything in, the little, it's not a clipboard, but it's a clipboard with that little flip up top bit. He picks it up, he opens it up to make sure that he's actually signed it, and gets a fireball in the face. Now, a fireball in the face is as old as dirt as far as a wrestling gimmick. Go back to the shitty WCW match that Hogan and Warrior had, where they couldn't get the fire paper to work properly. But it's always good. Fire is always good. If you got a flaming table, yeah, oh, by the way, by the time you hit the table, the fire was out. Okay, did you want them to actually die? The Inferno match, oh my god, but he had like safety clothes on. Well, what did you expect? The fireball is always cool. They take him, they rush him, he's doing the wounded animal thing, lashing out at everybody, and the two evil villainous heels, they scamper off. I just said scamper, that we don't need to do that again. But they linger on this for a long time, and they linger on all the people that have surrounded Keith Lee, all the people that he's swatting at, trying to get to Cross, and they do it a little too long. They could stay with him for a little bit, and they do the typical medical update, right. But they hang the camera over him for a really long time, all the way to the back and all the way into the starting of the next match. Now, there's a couple things wrong with it. I think the spot was great. The staging of all the characters in the ring was great. The whole way they set it up was great, up until the time that Cross and Scarlett left, and then they just lingered on Keith Lee forever. This guy is a wrecking machine. You do not want to overexpose the image of him being weakened. Yes, he was weakened by fire. Yes, it's entirely understandable, but they stayed on it for way too long, and it took away from the action that was going on in the ring. Now, the action that was going on in the ring was inconsequential at best, because the next match, or next quote-unquote match, was Drake Maverick versus Killian Dane, which under normal circumstances would be Killian Dane killing Drake Maverick, and that's fine. Both the entrances happen in a picture-in-picture thing, and I don't know if this is the same for everybody. I don't know who's watching it or what kind of stream, but if you are watching both wrestlers for the next upcoming match make their entrance in a little tiny picture-in-picture frame, that basically confirms to you, and I've been banging the drum for Killian Dane to get some more attention for a long time. That just reinforces that what's going on over here doesn't matter. That's why it's taking up only a third of your screen right now. But the match does start. I did start taking notes before I realized it was absolutely pointless. There's a corner toss by Dane. They trade some punches. We go to commercial break. Now, I don't know what you guys have, but my picture-in-picture sort of came and went. Like, there was full-screen commercials, and then there was a bit of picture-in-picture, full-screen commercials, bit of picture-in-picture. Now, I find the picture-in-picture during the commercials at the best of times to be a little bit weird. I can't pause it. I can't fast-forward it because I'm watching it on the North American stream, and you guys know the deal. But when the picture-in-picture did come in, it wasn't the action in the ring. It was still Keith Lee lumbering around the back looking weak, which isn't great. And then it was him getting taken care of by Mia Yim, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They've acknowledged in canon that she is, his lady and all that sort of thing. Obviously, she's going to come and take care of him, see how he's doing, etc. But they linger on it for so long, and it became uncomfortable, but not in the right storytelling kind of way. And I'm lingering on the point because I don't know how to properly say, like, this wasn't it, or if it was it for too long. Then when we come back from the commercial break, we're still not in the ring because we see the Undisputed Era turn up, and then we go back into the ring. Suicide drive by Maverick and a top rope elbow. Undisputed Era come to the ring, and I love this new serious pissed off Undisputed Era. It's good. It's led by Adam Cole, who when he is pissed, when he goes from being arrogant, being cocky, being sarcastic to being pissed off, it's really good. And if this is a little bit of a babyface run that we're going to give him before we sacrifice him to the gods of the main roster, I am all in for that. And if all his guys stay in line for that, I am all in for that as well. Cuts a really good, if not predictable, promo accusing Pat McAfee of wanting to play wrestler. You didn't realize you were coming up against the most decorated guy in NXT history. He says, I dare you to show up next week, and you're going to be face-to-face with me and realize what you're coming into contact with next Saturday. Now, I want to say something about next Saturday. There's been a lot of talk, especially coming out of the Wednesday night pay-per-view era from a little while ago, about the accusation that comes from our friends across the aisle in AEW that say, oh, counterprogramming. And WWE decided to help out Evolve. They decided to help out Evolve, which was their developmental system's developmental system. And they said that was a shot at one of their pay-per-views. NXT, I love this one too. NXT went to Wednesdays to counteract Dynamite when NXT's been on Wednesdays for its entire duration. You fucking morons! You know what you don't hear? You know what you don't hear? With the NBA bumping AEW, which just, I don't know, it kills me. I was talking to our good friend Jake DeMarco as the show was going on tonight, and I said, you know what, AEW weren't worried about the right thing. They were worried about WWE. They were worried about NXT. They didn't worry about the NBA. The NBA came to get them, but they're going on a Saturday, and do you know what I haven't heard at all? Do you know what I haven't heard from any NXT fan? Oh my god, look at how reactionary AEW is. They're just putting on a show to take out TakeOver. Nobody is saying that. Least of all me. People thought that I was going to say that. And I'm like, no. Because here's the thing. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, and there's some shit that I'm going to get onto later on in this show, as the guy waving the literal banner hanging behind me for NXT, if we lose that much attention for a takeover to AEW Dynamite and their silly alien dinosaur show 4 days late, we deserve to lose. That's all it is. If a takeover and the standards that the black and gold guys, if the standard that we hold a takeover to, if we were to lose ratings, and we're not going to lose ratings because it's not on TV, but if we were to lose that much attention, if we were to bomb out to an average 4-day late episode of Dynamite, then we deserve to lose. That's what I'm going to say about that. But nobody is saying, oh my god, they moved AEW Dynamite to Saturday because they're trying to fuck with TakeOver somehow. Because we're adults. Looking at you, AEW. Looking at you, Cody, with your ugly belt and your bitchy wife. Moving on. Undisputed Era is great. They really, really are. The match at TakeOver, as I say, it's the first time they've ever done a celebrity match at TakeOver, so I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how they're going to treat it. I don't know if they're going to make the same mistake as WWE and pretend like it's the only thing happening on the card, because that's a bad idea. But at the same time, I got into this a bit last week. Pat McAfee isn't exactly an outsider. He's made himself an NXT character over the course of, doing the pre-shows, etc. Anyways, we see a replay of the 3-on-2 beatdown of Breezango by Santos Escobar and his boys, Legado del Fantasma. I still don't think I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that's fine. NXT's parking lot continues to be the most dangerous place in wrestling. We have a Kushida interview about tonight's triple threat match, because it's going to be Kushida, Cameron Grimes, and a mystery third opponent. And yeah, I'm going to get to that soon. It's Kushida basically hyping himself up for that match. Cameron Grimes does one as well. Cameron Grimes is just annoying. Kushida's is in Japanese, which is nice, and there's subtitles, and that's nice. If it wasn't for the fact that we got two like this in one night, I'd be like, okay, that's cool, that's a bit different, whatever. But and this is not anything against NXT, this is not anything against Japan, this is not anything against Kushida, obviously, this is not anything against anybody. I'll say this about television, I'll say this about movies, I'll say this about wrestling. If I'm reading your promo or your material instead of hearing it, it takes it out for me. That doesn't mean that they're bad for not speaking English, that doesn't mean they're bad for speaking Japanese or wherever they happen to come from. It's not a criticism, but me consuming content, like I say, television, movies, wrestling, whatever it is, having to receive that content through subtitles takes it out for me, and that's a me thing as a fan. That's not anything to do with the show. Kushida's great. I like Kushida. He has cut promos in English. He's not that bad at English, so it's fine. But then we got, I don't know what I'm saying about that. Somebody will take that and turn it into something offensive, and I can't wait to hear it so I can have a good little chuckle. Santos Escobar taking on Tyler Breeze. Escobar sends his boys to the back. And I love this trope in wrestling. You got a big group. They come literally 5 feet past the curtain, and you send them back. You could have just left them in the locker room. I'm sure there's some drinks and some catering there. It's fine. Say hi to Ricochet for me. But it's this trope of, like, I've got all these guys. Just remember that I've got all these guys. I'm going to send them away for now, which definitely means they're coming back later. They grapple into the corner to start. There's high knees by Escobar and a one-punch knockdown. Mudhole stomp by Escobar and a standing dropkick and a knee to the face twice. Enziguri by Breeze. Inverted chop block to the floor. Or, sorry, inverted chop block on the floor by Escobar. Just taking him out right at the kneecap. It looked really dirty. I will say, this is where I'm going to stick it in once again. This is where Tyler Breeze is that guy. They're never going to put the NXT title on him. They're never going to put him in a position to be in that spot, which is kind of unfortunate in a way, because right now they're hyping him up as the NXT OG and all that kind of thing, and that's really fun. But he is the guy that goes in there, downplays himself a little bit, and makes everybody else look great. Now, character-wise, it was a little interesting to watch, especially during his entrance, because he's trying to do sort of the cocky, flamboyant entrance that he does, and, all the flipping and posing on the... I don't know why I'm doing this for people listening. I just did a really awkward pose for no reason. He's trying to do all that, and he's trying to still do all the characteristics of that and balance that out with being pissed off and getting back at this guy that beat up his friend last week, which is, the simplest storytelling there is. As we come back from commercial break, there's a seated chinlock by Escobar, an atomic drop and a knee shot. Superman forearms by Breeze and a supermodel kick. Wilde and Mendoza return. They do the quick distraction. It's pretty cut and paste. After this, we get a phantom driver, and Escobar wins. Fandango comes... Oh, my God. Fandango comes out with a mop in his hand and his arm in a sling. He steps on the broom, or he steps on the mop or whatever it is to break it off so that he's just got the stick. He's jumping into the ring at a 3-on-1, potentially 3-on-2 advantage with a weapon, but also a broken arm. It's bad. 3-on-2 beatdown, which was technically a 3-on-1.5 beatdown, because Fandango's half a guy, he's got no arm, etc. The obvious save is made by Swerve, because we're building to Swerve versus Escobar at TakeOver, which hasn't technically been announced, but they might as well announce it because they're writing it on the wall. We see a video package on Dakota Kai and how she got her shot for the Women's Championship at TakeOver, and she takes some shots at Io Shirai. She puts herself over a whole bunch. She doesn't need friends. She doesn't need backups. She doesn't need destroyers. She doesn't need insurance policies and all that sort of thing. I've forgotten at this point because there was so much hype around the Black Wednesday. Was Raquel Gonzalez let go in the Black Wednesday thing? I don't know, because I don't know why she's not with her anymore. Indy Hartwell versus Mia Yim was up next. Now, this was interesting because there was a pre-match interview before this match, and it was Mia Yim literally running back into Full Sail, getting her hair all tied up and trying to shake off what she... Because apparently she'd just run back from the local medical facility where Keith Lee is. And so, yeah, she ran back to Full Sail to have a match. And they tried to interview her about Keith Lee while she was getting ready. So, awkward to say the least. Collar and elbow tie-up, Yim works on the arm, headlock by Indy. I like Indy. I hope that one day she's just not like the warm body to put in the ring with somebody that we're trying to tell a story about, because she's pretty good in her own right. Shoulder by Indy and a trip and a drop kick by Yim, followed by a haluva kick. Cannonball by Yim in the corner. This was awesome, because Indy Hartwell, knowing what Mia Yim is going through currently, gets Mia Yim in the corner, hits her with the Grizzly Magnum, and then does the Keith Lee pose, and obviously that pisses off Mia Yim. She makes a couple of mistakes. There's a sidewalk slam by Indy, a backpack sleeper. Both women trade some shots. There's a leg sweep and a mount by Yim. Dropkick, neckbreaker, German suplex, and a weird roll that I thought it was a botched pin, but it was this weird rollover matchbook style pin into an arm bar of sorts. And Yim gets the win by submission, which is fine. We get a preview a promo from Ridge Holland, who just made his debut last week. He's a big guy, and he's got a stick, and isn't that wonderful? He's got a second chance match to get into the ladder match at TakeOver, because we all know Dexter Lumis hurt his ankle or whatever the hell he did, and they did this really weird, convoluted thing where all the people that didn't win but didn't get pinned in the 4 triple threat matches are going to get to have 2 more matches, and they're going to get into the match as well. So we're going to get Ridge Holland versus Gargano, and that's going to be next week. And we're going to get Finn Balor versus the third person out from tonight's match. Now, we're not there yet. We are not there yet. Priest versus Reed. Speaking of this ladder match that we got coming up at TakeOver, this is going to be like low-key the mid-card main event, isn't it? I mean, it's for the mid-card title. And I'm going to say once again, the North American Championship is 10 times better, 10 times more prestigious, 10 times more physically appealing than the TNT ego prop that Cody Rhodes is carrying around. Oh, yes. Stiff collar and elbow tie-up and a toss by Reed. Priest wrenches the arm. There's a reversal by Rude, and then it gets reversed back in Priest's favor. Once again, a kneeling neck vice by Priest. Shoulder tackle. Both men trade shoulder tackles until they're into a stalemate, which is really weird when you see the size difference between Bronson Reed and Damian Priest. We're talking about 2 guys that I really like, so I don't really know who should have come out in the top of that, but Bronson Reed's a big fucking dude, isn't he? Series of kicks by Priest and a tackle by Reed. Both men trade some shots. There's a back elbow by Priest and some more kicks. DDT by Reed as we go into the commercial break. Neck vice by Priest, a pop-up buster by Reed, and a corner splash. A fall-away slam and a senton by Reed. A flatliner by Priest. It bugs me that I never know what to call it, because sometimes they call it the mic check, sometimes they call it the flatliner, sometimes they call it... There's another name for it that I can't think of right now. A crazy series of strikes by Priest, a quarterback elbow to sort of cap that off. Broken arrow by Priest is impressive enough when you see the size of his opponent. Suplex by Reed and some forearms. A roundhouse by Priest and a jackknife pin gets the win for Reed. Everything, momentum-wise, is just swinging in Bronson Reed's favor. I don't know, hoping against hope, I really want Bronson Reed to win this ladder match in 2 weeks. We see another video package. It's basically Io Shirai's response to Dakota Kai. It starts off in English and then, like I say, drifts off into Japanese again, which is fine. I have no problem with it. Again, I have to specify. I have to nail this home because I know there's somebody out there. I know there's somebody out there waiting with bated breath to take me in the wrong context. I personally, as somebody personally watching a show, personally get pulled out when I personally have to read subtitles instead of listening to what somebody is saying. Nothing against the talent, nothing against the brand, nothing against the company, definitely nothing against the Japanese. So please, I beg you, take me out of context, I dare you. But it doesn't work for me, personally. And that's anybody. That's from somebody as popular as Io Shirai to somebody as unpopular as Muhammad Hassan or Jinder Mahal or, you know, whoever. It just doesn't work. It's supposed to make it, we're all very worldly. It's like, oh, okay, we get it. The Robert Stone brand. Robert Stone brand, who I love. I love this group. Robert Stone and Aaliyah. And now Mercedes Martinez, which is like the serious end of this group. And Robert Stone, I swear to God, coming out as like Discount Bin Lucifer on tonight's show with all the red and black. I was howling at my Twitter screen because I saw a photo of the three of them before this match actually happened, and it's Robert Stone knows exactly the target that he puts on his own chest every day he goes out there, and I think he does that. Whatever you call that thing where it's like, I'm the guy that's gonna go out there and slip on the banana peel and look like a fucking idiot. He does that so well. I mean, I'm sure he wishes he was doing something else, but he does it so well. And they're going up against Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter, who are basically the Young Bucks, but better. Oh, yes. I mean, this is really just a show-off point for Mercedes Martinez, and we'll see why in a bit, but Catanzaro and Carter should be in line for those women's tag team championships that are currently being held hostage by Sasha Banks and Bayley because the second biggest pay-per-view of the year is coming up, and I don't even think they're defending them on the show. Pointless. Oh, yes. Anyways, head scissors by Casey and a trip and a super kick by Caden, rotating. They do this weird thing. Casey is sort of linked arms with Caden, and they're doing this sort of like roundabout thing, and every time she does a roundabout, she does another step-up kick into the corner. It's like when the New Day does the Unicorn Stampede, but good. Moving on. Double team wheelbarrow stunner by Aaliyah and Mercedes Martinez. Now, Aaliyah and Mercedes Martinez are linked together by the fact that they're both in the Robert Stone brand, but the fact that they've actually come together enough to have tandem offense is a nice, neat little thing that I didn't expect out of this match. Coming back from the commercial break, there's a takedown by Aaliyah and a body shots by Martinez and a mudhole stomp. Leg drop by Aaliyah and a choke on the ropes by Mercedes Martinez. Mudhole by Casey, super kick by Caden, but an air raid crash by Martinez gets the win. And now let me tell you, I do genuinely love the team of Carter and Catanzaro. I hope good things happen for them. I hope they take those tag team titles off Sasha Banks and Bayley, who are useless, bring them to NXT, where we can renovate and rejuvenate championships that are dead. Look at the Cruiserweight title. Moving on. I really want good things for them. But they are both tiny. To see one of them take the air raid crash from somebody like Mercedes Martinez makes you worry about their physical health. And I mean that in the best way possible. Robert Stone brand obviously get the win. He looks like the cat that ate the canary. Sometime in this match, one of them stepped on his foot, which reminds us of the whole Tank stuff, which is also good because we're keeping that going. And yes, we are indeed keeping that going, because out comes Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley goes straight for Martinez, following up on what happened last week. And they brawl, but Aaliyah's there for whatever Aaliyah's going to do against Rhea Ripley. She gets taken out by Shotzi Blackheart. Shotzi Blackheart and Rhea Ripley run off the Robert Stone brand. Now, I will say, I'm gonna say something here. Shotzi Blackheart, again, you guys know I've got an implicit bias. I've had the chance to meet her. I saw her wrestle at Destiny. The two or three times that I got to actually sit down and have a conversation with her, she was a fucking sweetheart. News came out over the weekend, or over the early part of this week, that she got carjacked. All her ring gear got taken and all this other stuff. And I'm just gonna say, in the wake of, you know, the world and COVID, and we can't really do anything, and the whole world's on pause, specifically in the States, all the extra super violent bullshit that's going on in the States right now, can we just try not to be shitty people? Can we just give something a try? And that something is, don't be a shitty fucking human being. That's all I'm gonna say. Shout out to Shotzi Blackheart. I doubt she'll ever see this, obviously. But it is what it is, and I just, you know. And I should say, while we're talking about news, I wanted to start off this video with, doing the whole tribute thing to Kamala. I don't have anything to say that hasn't already been said. I'm sure there's somebody much more knowledgeable than me, probably good mic work, that will tell you in a lot more detail and give a much better sort of tribute than I will. But, we slip out of the wrestling world into the real world. In the real world, a lot of shitty stuff is happening right now, but it's still, as wrestling fans, it's still got that little extra sting when it comes like into our bubble and we lose another one, and it's just shitty. So R.I.P. to Kamala, the Ugandan giant. People immediately were going on about, oh, how problematic the gimmick was, and I'm like, you know what? The dude just passed away. It's not the time. It's really not. Moving on. We go to the House of the Garganos and Candice LeRae. They're doing the creepy thing where they do the edit, where they're saying a bunch of nice things, and then they go edit and they talk like this because they're all really evil, etc. I don't know what that was, and I'm never going to do it again. Candice LeRae is basically telling a fairy tale to her dog, which is awesome, and she manages to work in Tegan Knox, so that's her next feud, and Gargano responds and talks about his match with Ridge Holland, which I don't particularly look forward to that, if I'm not gonna lie. I liked a little bit that I saw from Ridge Holland, and you guys know that I'm a fan of Johnny Gargano. I don't know what that combination is supposed to look like. I'm not gonna lie. It's not something that intrigues me. I'm probably wrong. They're probably going to prove me wrong next week, but that's fine. That's what it is, whatever. I'm much more intrigued by the idea of Tegan Knox versus Candice LeRae, if I'm honest. And just look at what we've seen on the show. I mean, I know I dog on AEW a lot for their women's division because it doesn't exist, and or they shove them on YouTube, and or they're jobbing to the boss. Brandy Rhodes, useless. Moving on. But look at what happened on this show tonight. Now, you say 5 years ago, WWE, the biggest criticism was you had one story. You had one story, and it was the champion, and it was whoever was going for the championship that month. Now, what have we got? We've got the Robert Stone brand, and their running feud, and Mercedes Martinez's feud just rising up with Rhea Ripley. The continuing feud between Aaliyah and Shotzi Blackheart. We're just developing something new here with Candice LeRae and Tegan Knox. We've got Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter becoming a half-decent tag team. We've got Indy Hartwell, who just showed up on the scene. Mia Yim, who's struggling to make her own way and concerned about her husband at the same time. And that's not even including the champion and her most recent, most upcoming challenger. That's a lot of balls in the air, and that's a whole lot of stories that don't necessarily have anything to do with the championship. As I say, Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter should be in a championship role, but a different championship role for two championships that are held by people that don't need them and don't deserve them, and they're useless. Moving on. It's fine. We get the announcement set next week as well. We're getting the very, very predictable match, and I think I predicted this 2 weeks ago that we are going to get Breezango and Isaiah Swerve Scott taking on all three members of Legado del Fantasma, which is great. Main event time. Kushida versus Cameron Grimes versus a mystery opponent. And I said last week, how awesome would it be if it was somebody like Sami Zayn? And the problem with that is I worked myself into a shoot, as they say, and I really thought it was going to be somebody either coming down from the main roster or somebody making their debut or somebody, returning that we haven't seen at all. And I really worked myself into a shoot saying, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it was Sami Zayn? And I'm like, okay, so not Sami Zayn, but a surprise on that level. And instead, we got somebody who couldn't hold his own water in a main event title feud. We got somebody who already has had every push you can imagine in NXT's mid-card, who has had multiple takeover opportunities and spotlights and all that sort of thing. And somebody who's done some really, really shady shit in his spare time. And yes, I'm talking about the problematic Dream. Rolled himself back out on his really fucking sketchy couch. And we move on. We try to move on. I don't know. I have like 5 notes on this entire match because like that was so fucking deflating and troubling and disappointing. And you guys know me. I got the banner. The banner's right back there. You can see it behind my head if you're watching this on YouTube right now. If you're listening in a podcast form right now, just take my word for it. There's an NXT flag behind me. I will literally and figuratively wave that flag in any conversation I'm in, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to call out NXT when they do something massively stupid. With the winners that they've had so far, they set out that we're going to be using this ladder match. We're going to be putting the title on somebody that hasn't had a title opportunity. We're going to be giving 5 different guys that have never really had takeover exposure, some takeover exposure. So you had Dexter Lumis before he was unfortunately injured. You got Bronson Reed, who I've been talking up ever since. You've got who else is there? Damian Priest, who has been featured a little bit more, never really held a title, and has only had a couple of notable takeover matches. So it's the next level. It's the guys that really haven't had a shot. And you put in Velveteen Dream, who shouldn't be in the company, first of all. But second of all, if you want to go creative, you want to go kayfabe, whatever, this is a guy who proved that he wasn't a main world title guy, and a guy that has done everything and had every exposure in the mid-card. So in a concept that was so, we're going to give you something new, we're going to give the next guys a chance, we're passing this, Keith Lee, metaphorically passing this title down to the next guys that are going to want something to fight for. And that goes out the fucking window. It goes out the fucking window. You put Velveteen Dream in there. There's anybody. Cameron Grimes is in this match. Spoiler alert, Cameron Grimes wins this match. I would rather... You guys know me, I can't stand Cameron Grimes. But at least he's not off fucking diddling in his spare time. At least he's not somebody that, main roster style has been shoved down our throats the way Velveteen Dream has. This is bullshit. I'm going to talk about... I don't even want to talk about the match. I really don't. Kushida's got a hoverboard lock on the Dream. Grimes hits the cave-in, but pushes Dream out of the ring because we can't have Dream eating a pin, and pins Kushida. Kushida, another person who, while he wouldn't have won this match because Grimes won this match, Kushida could have gone on and had that second chance match against Finn Balor. But we don't get that. We don't get to have nice things. Kushida is the guy that they book to be thrown in a bin while super problematic Dream. You know what bugs me about this? I'm going to go off on one here for a second, and I'm not going to yell, I'm not going to scream, I'm not going to get agitated, but I just want to say about something. Sammy Guevara, and yeah, I'm going to stick up for Sammy Guevara, because fuck it. Sammy Guevara said some rude shit on a podcast. Get the fuck over it. It wouldn't have caught fire as much as it did if it hadn't been about Sasha Banks and all her creepy, culty, fucking Stan fans. Enzo Amore did literally nothing and lost his fucking job. Jordan Devlin got Me Too'd. Jack Gallagher got Me Too'd. Velveteen Dream, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because everybody else gets assumed guilty. I'm not even gonna say allegedly. Velveteen Dream out there fucking diddling, and he got a title match after this shit came out in the first place, and now he's in another title situation now, and now he gets the prestige of going on next week or the week after and fighting somebody the prestige of Finn fucking Balor, who deserves better in his own right. It's bullshit. It really... First thing I wrote on Twitter when the surprise was announced, I was like, Jesus Christ, it's not even fucking February. And that's... I got nothing. Grimes won this. You did something bad enough that I'm happy that Grimes won a match. And yeah, Velveteen Dream versus Finn Balor, I'm sure that's a draw for some people. Because for whatever political reason or another, people will find a reason to say, oh, well, but it's okay that Velveteen Dream gets this and that, and, crimes don't matter sometimes. But even if it wasn't for that, even if it wasn't for the massive difference in how stuff that he's done is handled by the wrestling fandom, and how everybody else that I literally mentioned there got thrown under the bus, got disowned for what I would say is much less. Sammy Guevara, I mean, I know he works for AESJW. He got fucked. He absolutely got fucked, and then he got made to apologize. I hope he quits AEW, but that's an entirely other conversation altogether. Give me Sammy Guevara versus Santos Escobar for a title that actually matters and isn't ugly as fuck like Cody's title. I'm off on one now, but this is so bullshit, and it's so much more bullshit because it's on the show that I like, and it's because it's on the show that I come up here and tell you guys, hey, this is my brand. Let me tell you how awesome NXT is. I just rhymed off to you how NXT probably has the best women's division out there, period. Even their celebrity match that's coming up is great. Their world title match is enticing as fuck, and they did the old fireball thing, and it's all good. Their tag team division sucks donkey ass, but we can't have everything. But just... I've said this before, I've said this in NXT videos that we've done with Jake, I've said this in AEW, in NXT videos that I've done with Guapo, with videos that I've done with Okayfabe, videos that I've done with Kristen. I've always said the same thing. NXT is my brand. It's the brand that I choose to spend my time on. It's the brand that I choose to come up here and spend my time talking to you guys about. It is, as a wrestling fan, it is my brand. So I hold them to a higher standard. I do. I don't hold AEW to a high standard. I put AEW on in the background while I'm editing this video you're watching or listening to right now. I hold NXT to a higher standard. So you know what? When they fuck up this badly, I gotta call them on it twice as much. That's it. That's all. This is fucking... They got a little bit of Tony Khan syndrome. Oh, we got a great big surprise for you. We lit a diddler back in the building. I got nothing. I'm so disappointed by this. It's unfucking real. I really am. He didn't win. Oh, well, he didn't win. Well, okay. He lost to Cameron Grimes. He's probably going to be booked to beat Finn fucking Balor in a week or 2 weeks from now. That's fucking sad. I would love to... Okay, as much as I just made on the big ramble about how this is supposed to be the thing for the new guys... How good is it? How good are you as a new guy if a Bronson Reed goes into a ladder match at a takeover at a pay-per-view that has Finn fucking Balor in it and he walks away with the belt? That's fucking awesome. Okay, you climbed up the ladder and got the belt while some diddler was fighting outside the ring. That's not the same. At all. It's really, really not. I gotta stop because this is bullshit. The rest of the show was great. Bigger piss off. The rest of the show was great, and now I got this just sitting here in front of me, like somebody took a shit right there on my desk. It's not cool. NXT, you done it wrong this time. I'm just saying, and that's coming from me, and that takes a lot. Let me know what you guys think down in the box below. Let me know what you guys think in the chat over there. I would love to sign this off a lot more positively than I am right now, but I don't have it. Sorry. You guys know what you sign up for when you come and see one of my videos or listen to one of my podcasts. I am Spaz Phoenix. I am your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, tagging out, guys. Bye.